Imagine making your credit card payment every month, only to see your balance barely shrink. For millions of Americans, that's become an all-too-familiar experience. According to NerdWallet's latest household debt analysis, the average household with revolving credit card debt owed $11,413 as of September 2025, an increase of more than 4% from the previous year. As debt continues to rise, many people are searching for practical ways to regain control of their finances. But with so many debt relief options available, how do you know which one is actually right for you? In this video, we'll break down what debt relief really means, when it may be worth considering, and explain some of the most common strategies available, along with the benefits and risks of each. By the end, you'll have a clearer understanding of your options and the questions to ask before making an important financial decision. Debt can happen to almost anyone. A medical emergency, job loss, rising living costs, or simply carrying high-interest credit card balances from month to month can quickly become difficult to manage. When monthly payments start feeling overwhelming, many people begin looking for debt relief. But here's something important to understand. Debt relief isn't a single program. It's a broad term that covers several strategies designed to make debt easier to repay. Some options reduce your interest rate. Others combine multiple debts into one payment. And in more serious situations, legal solutions may also be available. The right approach depends on your income, your financial situation, and the type of debt you're dealing with. So, let's start with the basics. What debt relief really means. At its core, debt relief means changing the terms of your debt so it becomes easier to manage and repay. Depending on the option you choose, it may involve negotiating with creditors, lowering your interest rate, combining multiple debts into one loan, or, in certain situations, using bankruptcy to resolve eligible debts. The goal isn't simply to reduce your monthly payment, it's to create a realistic path toward becoming debt-free. Debt relief generally focuses on unsecured debt, including credit card balances, medical bills, personal loans, and payday loans. By contrast, secured debts, such as mortgages and auto loans, are backed by collateral, meaning the lender can take the property if payments aren't made. Because of that, these debts are usually handled differently. So, how do you know when debt relief is actually worth considering? When debt relief makes sense. Having debt doesn't automatically mean you need debt relief. Many people can pay off what they owe by adjusting their budget or increasing monthly payments. But if your debt has become difficult to manage, it may be time to explore additional options. One commonly used guideline is this. If your unsecured debt equals 50% or more of your gross annual income, and it would likely take 5 years or longer to repay, debt relief may be worth exploring. These aren't strict rules, but they can help indicate when financial pressure has become more serious. It's also important not to wait too long. Exploring your options early often gives you more flexibility than waiting until accounts become severely overdue. One of the simplest solutions doesn't require hiring anyone at all. DIY negotiations and hardship programs. Before enrolling in any debt relief program, consider contacting your creditors directly. Many banks and credit card companies offer hardship programs for customers facing temporary financial difficulties, such as job loss or unexpected medical expenses. Depending on the lender, they may lower your interest rate, waive certain fees, or temporarily adjust your payment schedule. Another possibility is negotiating directly with creditors to settle a debt for less than the amount owed. However, debt settlement can negatively affect your credit, so requesting hardship assistance first is generally the safer approach. The most important thing is to communicate early. Creditors are often more willing to work with customers before accounts become seriously delinquent. If negotiating directly isn't enough, another option can simplify repayment even further. Debt consolidation loans. If you're managing several high-interest debts, a debt consolidation loan may be worth considering. Debt consolidation combines multiple debts into one new loan, leaving you with a single monthly payment instead of several. Ideally, the new loan comes with a lower interest rate, helping reduce the total amount you pay over time while making your finances easier to manage. These loans may be available even to borrowers with fair or lower credit scores, although the interest rate you receive will depend on your financial profile. Keep in mind that consolidation isn't a way to eliminate debt. It's a way to organize and potentially reduce borrowing costs. It works best when you avoid taking on new debt while paying off the consolidation loan. But what if consolidating your debt still isn't enough? In the next section, we'll look at debt management plans, compare the two main types of personal bankruptcy, and explain why debt settlement, while sometimes promoted as a solution, can also carry significant risks. Debt management plans. If negotiating with creditors or consolidating your debt doesn't solve the problem, another option is a debt management plan, often called a DMP. Unlike debt settlement, a debt management plan is designed to help you repay your eligible unsecured debts in full, but under more manageable terms. Here's how it works. You enroll through a credit counseling agency, which reviews your finances and works with your creditors. In many cases, the agency can negotiate lower interest rates or reduced fees on your behalf. Instead of making several separate payments each month, you make one monthly payment to the credit counseling agency, which then distributes the money to your creditors according to the agreed repayment plan. This can simplify your finances while reducing the amount you pay in interest over time. When choosing an agency, look for one that's accredited by the National Foundation for Credit Counseling, or NFCC, or the Financial Counseling Association of America, known as the FCAA. A debt management plan isn't an overnight solution, but it can provide a structured path toward becoming debt-free without taking more drastic financial measures. But if your debt has reached a point where repayment simply isn't realistic, there are additional options to consider. Bankruptcy options. For people facing overwhelming debt, bankruptcy may provide legal protection and a fresh financial start. Because bankruptcy has long-term legal and credit consequences, it's generally recommended to consult a qualified bankruptcy attorney before deciding whether it's the right option. The two most common forms of personal bankruptcy are Chapter 7 and Chapter 13. Chapter 7 is often used to eliminate eligible unsecured debts, including many credit card balances, personal loans, and medical bills. The process typically takes about 6 months, and a Chapter 7 filing can remain on your credit report for up to 10 years. Not everyone qualifies for Chapter 7, however. For those with higher incomes or those trying to protect assets such as a home, Chapter 13 may be available instead. Rather than immediately discharging eligible debts, Chapter 13 creates a court-approved repayment plan lasting 3 to 5 years. If the plan is successfully completed, any remaining eligible unsecured debt may be discharged. A Chapter 13 filing generally remains on your credit report for 7 years. Bankruptcy isn't the right solution for everyone, but in certain situations, it can offer a structured path toward rebuilding your finances. Another option that some consumers consider is debt settlement. While it may sound appealing, it's important to understand the risks before signing up. Debt settlement and major risks. Debt settlement is generally intended for people with severe financial hardship who are unable or unwilling to file for bankruptcy. The process usually begins by asking you to stop making payments to your creditors. Instead, you're instructed to deposit money into a dedicated escrow account while the debt settlement company negotiates with your creditors. As the money builds up, the company attempts to convince creditors to accept a lump sum payment that's less than the full amount owed. In some cases, creditors may agree, but there's no guarantee they will. Meanwhile, interest charges and late fees may continue accumulating, increasing the amount you owe while your accounts become further overdue. Missed payments can also lead to collection activity or legal action, making an already difficult financial situation even more stressful. Consumer protection agencies, including the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the National Consumer Law Center, and the Federal Trade Commission, have warned consumers to approach debt settlement with extreme caution. It's also important not to confuse debt settlement with debt consolidation. Debt consolidation combines existing debts into one loan or payment, while debt settlement attempts to reduce the amount owed through negotiations after payments have stopped. They serve very different purposes and carry very different levels of risk. Understanding that distinction can help you avoid costly mistakes. In the final section, we'll look at how to identify debt relief scams, the warning signs every consumer should know, and a few financial decisions experts generally recommend avoiding when you're already struggling with debt. Debt relief scams to avoid. By now, you've seen that there are several legitimate ways to tackle debt, but unfortunately, financial stress also creates opportunities for scammers. That's why it's important to research any company before signing an agreement or paying any fees. If you're considering a debt relief or debt settlement company, start by asking a few key questions. Do they work with all of your creditors? What fees do they charge? And when are those fees collected? How long is the process expected to take? And could settling your debt create any tax consequences? A trustworthy company should answer these questions clearly and explain both the benefits and the risks. Just as importantly, know the warning signs. Be cautious of any company that asks you to pay upfront fees before your debt has been settled. That's a major red flag. You should also be skeptical of companies that guarantee they'll erase your debt for a specific amount or promise to stop every lawsuit or collection call. No legitimate debt relief company can guarantee those outcomes. If you're being pressured to sign immediately or discouraged from reading the agreement carefully, it's usually best to walk away. When it comes to debt relief, informed decisions almost always lead to better outcomes than rushed ones. Debt relief options to avoid. Even if you're under financial pressure, some decisions can create even bigger problems in the future. One common mistake is ignoring secured debts, such as your mortgage or car loan, to focus on unsecured debts like credit cards or medical bills. Because secured loans are backed by property, missing those payments could put your home or vehicle at risk. It's also generally recommended to avoid borrowing against your home's equity just to pay off unsecured debt. While it may seem like a quick solution, it turns unsecured debt into debt secured by your home. Another option experts typically discourage is borrowing from workplace retirement accounts. If you leave your job before repaying the loan, it could be treated as a withdrawal and may create unexpected tax consequences. And finally, don't let aggressive collection calls determine your financial strategy. The loudest creditor isn't always the one that should receive your immediate attention. Instead, look at your overall financial picture before making important decisions. Key takeaways. Let's quickly recap what we've covered. Debt relief isn't a single solution. It's a range of strategies designed to make debt easier to manage. For some people, simply contacting creditors and asking about hardship assistance may be enough. Others may benefit from debt consolidation or a debt management plan that lowers interest costs and simplifies monthly payments. When debt becomes overwhelming, bankruptcy may offer legal protection and a path toward rebuilding your finances, although it comes with long-term credit consequences. Debt settlement is another option, but it carries significant risks and should be approached with caution. Most importantly, take time to understand how each option works before making a decision. The right solution depends on your financial situation, your income, and your long-term goals. Debt can feel overwhelming, but it doesn't have to define your financial future. The sooner you understand your options, the better prepared you'll be to make informed decisions and avoid costly mistakes. Whether that means working directly with your creditors, enrolling in a debt management plan, considering debt consolidation, or seeking professional legal advice when appropriate, the goal is the same: finding a realistic path toward long-term financial stability. And remember, if an offer sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Take your time, ask questions, and rely on trustworthy information before making any major financial decision. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who may also benefit from understanding their debt relief options. And if you'd like more straightforward, fact-based videos on personal finance, investing, and the U.S. economy, be sure to subscribe to Capital Compass Daily so you don't miss our next update. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.